Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rift News, the show a lot of you are going to watch because you're afraid your friends won't be able to boost you anymore. Which is a valid concern, but we got a lot more to talk about today. You may have noticed that last week we skipped a video, but finally, I'm free! Jokes aside, I am considering a lore review of Elden Ring. But that's not important right now, because we have news to talk about, so as always, let's start with League. First of all, we have to mention that all the B sales as well as all the passes from the other games go towards the humanitarian help. We all know the world sucks right now, so thank you Riot. After this, League got a PvE mini patch. It seems like it was a mistake because all of the new files seem to be linked to the next patch, but fortunately for Riot, it is just a bunch of icons and emotes. When it comes to the icons, one is definitely esports, then there is TFT, and then there are three strange ones. They kinda look like the PsyOps icons, but they are Talia, Rel and Blade Mistress Morgana. A very strange combination. According to Skin Spotlight, they are tagged as Chinese publishing, so it is possible that these won't be available in the West. When it comes to the emotes, we are getting more memes, although I don't recognize some of them. Especially Morgana, Fiddlesticks, Twisted Fate and Yumi. But then the more well-known memes are Kayn, Shaco, Zillion, Dugbill, Talia, and Dabbing Aurelia. I love that the most outdated and irrelevant meme goes to him. All of these emotes are tagged as esports, so they will likely come from the esports capsules during the playoffs. Unfortunately for Riot, one more thing appeared in the files in the newest PvE patch. Some links to April Fools. We don't really know what any of this means, but it definitely looks like files leading up to a new game mode. It doesn't look like Earth, so maybe this April Fools we will be surprised by something new. Then Riot gave us a new post talking about the behavioral system in 2022. Here they went through some of their data. According to them, only 5% of the player base is constantly disruptive. And even though for the past few years they were dealing with this 5% of the player base, they will now be switching focus to the 95%. In that 95% of the player base, 86 of all reports were targeting players who normally behave well, but they just happened to tilt. Of course, that is normal, it happens to absolutely everyone, but that still doesn't mean it shouldn't be punished in some way. That's why Riot is going to focus on the 95% instead. It's because even though 5% of the player base is horribly toxic, a lot larger number than that is toxic casually. That's why you can feel the salt in League of Legends. Now, because punishing you for being just a human would feel really bad, the alternative is to reward the good players. And so, after reaching honor level 5, or after getting a lot of honors from non-pre-made groups, you will get a brand new recall. Of course, up until now, only challengers got their golden recall. But now, finally, Riot is going to expand it a little bit. We still don't really know what the new recall will be, but I'm pretty sure they are borrowing ideas from Wild Rift. Because there, the recall is a whole new cosmetic. Anyway, besides just this, for reaching honor level 5 before the end of the year, you will also get a new exclusive skin. Yes, it is not just a chroma, just like you have the Victorious skins, there will also be honorable skins for getting honor level 5. On top of this, Riot will start tying punishments to reports based on champion select. Apparently, up until now, that wasn't the case. But now, more reports will matter. Bunching all of this together, according to their data, verbal abuse should be improved by up to 10 times. I don't know how they got that number, but let's hope people will want to see that honor level 5 skin. The better it looks, the better people will behave. After this, Riot also talked about the state of their competitive play. Here they mentioned that they will be improving MMR once again. If you take a long break, the MMR should be more dynamic and so your matches will be more fair. But despite the MMR system being generally good, people still abuse it for boosting, even though higher ranked players are not able to play with the low ranked players. So Riot is going to look into flex queue in the near future. With that said, challenges will launch in 12.9. Apparently the challenges should not affect how ranked games go. Whether that becomes true, only time will tell. But then they talk about the thing that everyone talks about right now. The pre-made problems. According to their data, autofill has been the lowest ever. Right now it is between 0.3 to 3%, which is very healthy since everyone gets to play a role which they at least somewhat want to play. Also, 99% of all players are playing against other players with similar MMR, which means that you are playing matches against people within 2 divisions of your rank. So overall, the MMR system is highly accurate. The issue comes in when you introduce premates. It seems like duo queue breaks that accuracy, which leads to imbalanced games. And at times, if you queue in as duos, your win rate may double. And that really screws with the balancing. As a result, Riot is thinking about changing solo duo queue into solo only queue. This actually has a number of benefits. Since no one has a friend in the queue, the matches will be more fair, boosting would be eradicated, and queue times would be better. Of course, if you want to play with your friend, you can still go into flex queue. And that would have a lot of benefits there too. In flex queue you would have improved queue times, there would be drastically better match quality, and a lot better competitiveness. You would essentially have a solo queue and then flex multiplayer queue. It honestly doesn't sound that bad, but throughout all of this, they don't really talk about another really massive benefit. Toxicity would definitely go down. Everyone knows if you are a solo player in a queue with 2 duos, it really sucks. But that's pretty much it when it comes to League. In short, League may get a bit less toxic. But now, let's move on to Wild Rift, where we got some massive news. Riot released a video talking about patch 3.1, and there they talked about what's coming in 2022. They first talked about the current state of the game. They acknowledged that they did improve stability and latency, and they acknowledge the fact that they need to focus more on intentional feeding and AFK. They will also give you a notice when someone gets banned based on your report, and they confirmed they are still working on console release. Now, when it comes to 3.1 itself, this patch is finally bringing elemental dragons to Wild Rift. The point of the dragons is pretty much the same as for PC. They will make the games more dynamic. Right now, elemental dragons will be in a sort of a testing phase. And how they behave in 3.1 will not be the same as how they behave in 3.2. Of course, they also behave the same as in PC. After slaying a dragon, you will get their buff. But after a number of dragons, you will also get a dragon soul. Right now, you will claim the soul after your 3rd dragon kill. But that number may change in a future patch. Infernal Dragon will give you AD and AP, and the Infernal Soul will deal damage around your attacks and abilities in an area. Mountain gives you armor and magic resistance, with the Mountain Soul giving you a shield after you have not taken damage for a while. Ocean Dragon gives you health regeneration, with the Ocean Soul giving you even more regeneration when you are dealing damage. And that is it. There is no Cloud Drake. Apparently when they were testing it, you couldn't really feel its buffs. It was just a bunch of hidden numbers. And because it didn't feel that good, they just removed it. Now, after a Dragon Soul has been claimed, the next dragon will be the Elder Dragon, with the Elder Dragon giving you a massive burn on your damage, as well as an execute. And just like in League, all of these dragons will also change the environment when they are killed. Infernal will leave jungle more open, Mountain will create new terrain, and Ocean will cover jungle in more bushes and honeyfruit. The first 2 dragons that spawn will be random. But after that, just like in League, you will get an indicator that will show you what dragon will come next. For a limited time, this new Elemental Rift will be available as a separate queue. This will allow Riot to test it without really screwing with the main queue too much. So try it while it's available. At the end of this Elemental section, they also talked about the fact that they are trying to see if they can introduce something new. Something that would be different even from League PC. Maybe we will get Icy Drake instead of Cloud Drake. Then they talked about new champions. From the previous teasing, we know that Shen is arriving to Wild Rift. And while he is decently old in PC, in Wild Rift his HD model looks incredible. Of course, this model is not used in the game, but still, it looks amazing. And he behaves exactly like he does on PC. When it comes to Karma, the other champions which we knew about, she plays quite differently, and in my opinion, better than she does on PC. She will feel less like a support and more like a battle mage. Her ultimate is now her passive. After casting 3 spells, the next spell will be empowered. Her first spell, or Q, is pretty much the exact same. It deals damage and then deals damage even more when empowered while slowing enemies. Her W automatically latches on up to 2 enemies. And when empowered, it also tethers the enemies together, which means that to break it, they also have to run away from each other. And if they don't break it, the route is insanely long. Her E is the same, it is a shield and speed boost, but when empowered, it also spreads to 1 additional ally. And finally, her new ultimate deals damage in an area, as well as slowing enemies and pulling in those who are close to the edges. It is like a bigger Orianna's ultimate that is way easier to set up. Honestly, this ability really fits her heavy crowd control design. And after seeing this, going back to normal Karma on PC will feel weird. After this, they mentioned that their champion releases were slower so far, but they will ramp it up later in 2022. So far we got Peace, Harmony and Cats, but apparently 2022 will be the year of edgelords. I thought he was referring to Yone and Kayn, the 2 most edgy champions in the entirety of League of Legends. But when they tease who's coming next, they don't talk about Ionia. Which is strange, he even makes the nothing personal joke, which is Yone's thing. But alas, no Ionia. Instead, we know that the next champions will be from Zaun, Bilgewater and Noxus. And interestingly enough, if you listen to the music in the background, you may hear Pyke's theme. So we know who's the one from Bilgewater. Zaun doesn't really have a certified edgelord, but my bets are on Urgot. And when it comes to Noxus, I just really hope it is not Samira. I hope we are getting an HD model of Mordekaiser or Sion. But I have a feeling it's going to be Vlad. When it comes to gameplay, Wild Rift is going to see more items for fighters. Divine Sunderer, Hullbreaker and Fimbulwinter are joining the fight, with Death's Dance and Solari Chargeblade getting new tuning. Support summoner spells are also getting new buffs so that they feel more impactful. Exhaust will get a new, stronger initial slow. Heal will give more health to your ally and less to you. And Ignite will be stronger in the early game and weaker in the late game. And then we get to new cosmetics. The next ranked Glorious skin is going to be for Evelynn. But with a new year, they also changed the aesthetic a little bit. So this year, the Glorious skins are called Crimson Glorious skins, which look a bit more vampiric. The awesome thing is that by playing ranked games and getting ranked points, you can also spend the points to augment that skin. They call it the weapon augments, which means that you can get the skin for Evelynn, but with a golden weapon. It makes sense why Wild Rift has this. They don't have chroma skins, so this is an alternative system to having chromas. If you think about it, it is similar to Overwatch's golden weapons, but here it is just for the glorious skins. Nevertheless, I might prefer augmented weapons over prestige chromas, because with the augmented weapon, the skin just looks better. A chroma tends to rearrange the colors entirely, and it is not always better than the original. After this, we got more info on the new pass. Since 2021 is over, Hexplorers are over as well. So this year, the theme of the new pass skins is Psychic Detective, with the first pass of 2022 giving us Psychic Detective Senna. After this, we also got some quality of life changes, like junglers automatically getting assigned Smite, and a new tab in the game for news. And then they talk about new skins and events. If you have played Wild Rift for any amount of time, you know that their events are vastly superior to League PC. Wild Rift's events are insanely good. And this year they will visit High Noon, Pool Party and Pulsefire. But in the background you may hear project music. I wonder if that's teasing something. And finally they mentioned that this year they will cooperate with League PC on a bigger event. We all know what that's gonna be. I am pretty sure the Void is coming. And to end it all, they give us a list of new upcoming skins. Shen's first skin will be Blood Moon, Karma is getting Warden. Then there is Pretty Kitty Rengar, Furyhorn Veigar, Renekton, Pajama Guardian Ezreal and Lux, as well as 2 new exclusive skins, Marauder Graves and Brand. But that is it for Wild Rift as well. There was a lot, but now we're moving on to Legends of Runeterra. While nothing is really happening there, after they released their video update, we also got a roadmap image. We already talked about everything that's there. However, some people noticed that when you zoom in on the images, if you zoom in on them, you may notice that one of them is a fiery demon that seems to be in a Noxian environment, which would heavily suggest that maybe Annie is coming to Legends of Runeterra. And the other image linked to the PvE event seems to be themed around gambling, which may be suggesting graves. But that's all we got in Legends of Runeterra. So now on to VALORANT. While last time we briefly talked about the new changes to Yoru as well as the changes to Icebox, we didn't have time to talk about all the other changes to the agents. If you're not aware, VALORANT went through what they call Control Agent Update. Basically, Durals and fighters were dominating the game. So, when it comes to Brimstone, his smokes will be deployed a lot faster. Omen's blind is 3 times as fast, and it is harder to blind your allies. Astra's stars have a higher cooldown, but they can be now placed pretty much globally. Viper's fuel burns a lot faster when you are using all of your abilities at once. And well, Yone got a clone now, because no one was using his steps. And that's pretty much it for VALORANT as well. Which also concludes today's episode of Rift News. There were some hopes for League of Legends and maybe toxicity will go down. And Wild Rift once again proves to be a lot fleshier than League PC. But that is really it. You can go to the other game and suffer alone instead of relying on your friends to do it for you.